Hey guys, welcome back. All right, today we are finally going to talk about working with Ozzy Osbourne on the Patient Number 9 video and the Omaze Win a Demon campaign, which is a dodge demon. It's a car, it's not a demon, but I got to play the same bat demon character and work with Ozzy Osbourne again for that campaign. And I'm going to talk about both of them because they're sort of interconnected in a way. So I made a list. I tried to record this a while back, and there's too many things to kind of grasp onto. I got halfway through and I was like, did I say this? I don't know. So I made a list. I'm going to try to check it off, and I took a few questions online. Didn't get a ton of questions on this, but I get a lot of questions in person, so I try to address them on my notes, and I'll go to the questions I got online. I posted them on YouTube on the community chat thing, and I don't see other people's posts on there. So when I posted it, I'm surprised when people see these things. So people saw it, got some responses, so I'm going to try to answer those as well. But I guess the biggest question that I get up front is, how did you get on an Ozzy video? How did you do that? Basically, long story short, is a makeup artist who's a friend of mine, Richard Redlefsen, who's amazing. I pulled up a page with some of his stuff here, and let me make sure I'm showing my screen, which I need to do. There we go. All right, so this is Richard Redlefsen. That's him up there at the top left, right here. And that's him. He is awesome. Super, super good makeup artist. He's worked on tons of famous people. There's like John Lithgow, that old age makeup, and added a bunch of weight to his face for, oh gosh, what was this? He's done tons of stuff. This is Rob Lowe, Sebastian Bach, from, what was it? Was he in Cinderella? Is that it? Anyway, just tons of stuff. There's me down here, actually. There's me. And let's see. So he does a lot of really kind of like very realistic old age makeups. Oh my gosh, this is Bonnie Morgan, who was the girl from The Ring that climbs out of the well. It's all creepy. This is her. And I worked with her on that GM commercial as well that I did with Will Ferrell. She was on that as a zombie too, along with me. Here's a really good one. This is actually Mother Teresa, all makeup on his wife, Anna, which is her right here. So, I mean, you get an idea. He sculpts all that, molds it, the whole shebang. And this is me too. He did this makeup on me as a zombie. But yeah, I basically modeled makeups for Richard Redlefsen. And he enjoyed working with me, and I enjoyed working with him. I consider him a friend. He's awesome. Really, really cool guy. Fun to be around. Very, very talented. Just a cool guy. So when this gig came up for the music video, he just wrote me. He's like, hey, do you want to do a music video? And I, without even knowing what it was at the time, I was like, yeah, of course. Like, whatever it is, I'm down. So, he's like, okay, let me just nail down some details. I'll let you know more about it. And it came back and he said, this is going to be for Ozzy Osbourne. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And of course I was already down for it. Whatever it was, I didn't care. I would do it. I've done, I don't know, a bunch of different music videos. They're always fun with a wide range of artists. So Ozzy Osbourne is a real good one. Another one that I'm in, completely opposite end of the spectrum, I'm in a Lizzo video, but it's only really brief, but it's for About Damn Time. And if you watch that video, you can see me right at the beginning of the video, just a few seconds in, and it's really good, like right in camera. But music videos are really fun. They're usually shot pretty quick turnaround time, so it's not typically tons of time on set and everything. So music videos are great. Not a huge commitment. But I found out it was Ozzy, so I was very, very excited. And everything's really ambiguous. You never know when they're going to happen, if it's like really going to happen or not. Are they really going to use me? So I try to, in my head, with pretty much any project, if something cool is coming up, I just assume it's not going to happen. I schedule it like it's going to happen. I hope that it happens, but I don't fixate on it actually happening, because the few times in my life when I've really been excited about a thing and it's fallen through, it's been way harder to deal with than if I just assume it's not going to happen. And then, when I show up on set and I'm there, okay, it's happening. Sometimes you go through all that and it doesn't even come out. I've done things where it's going to be really cool and the thing never comes out. So when I'm on set, okay, we're doing it. That's how I feel. So anyways, like a lot of working things out. They had to work out the design elements and so forth. And I'll go over here and let me see. This is my post I did on YouTube. And this is myself with Ozzy Osbourne, which was awesome. So this is the makeup I was in. And I asked a question. I'm doing a story time video about working with Ozzy. Blah, blah, blah. I got questions. So I only got 5 comments here. One of them is definitely a watch. It's more of a statement, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And these are the questions. A couple of them sort of overlap. So I'll try to cover them as I go. Let's see. Again, I get a lot of questions about this from my friends and so forth. When I see people I haven't seen in a while, like, what was it like? How did this and that? So again, trying to answer all those. So see where it started. So once they approved the design, it was approved by the directors, and Sharon Osbourne, I know, approved it. I'm sure Ozzy saw it. I don't know if he was like, yes, no. Sharon is very much, she runs the show on a lot of things. She's awesome. I only got to meet her briefly, but she was very cool, and she clearly is like, making stuff happen. She's very cool. But I know she was in on seeing the design. The design was but they wanted to kind of replicate the look from the Bark at the Moon music video from the 80s, which, let's see if I find a shot here where we could see the creature. They wanted to kind of recreate the feeling of this. Let's see here. I got to make sure the sound is down. So here we go. So this is the creature from the Bark at the Moon video, and it's pretty awesome. And we're going for something that kind of had this feel, but they wanted it to look more like a bat than a werewolf. And this makeup, I believe that's actually Ozzy in the makeup. And this makeup was done by Rick Baker, who's amazing. Did American Werewolf in London, and tons and tons of other stuff. The Men in Black movies, lots and lots of things. Just wonderful, amazing artist. If you haven't heard of Rick Baker, I highly did I say Rick Baker before? If I didn't, I meant to say Rick Baker. For my brain, it's very late right now. Check out Rick Baker's work. I mean, just amazing. And just worked on tons of films. So anyway, they wanted to kind of capture the feel of that. So we ended up with this design. Again, this was Richard Redlefsen kind of put this together. Now, even though it's a music video, a lot of music videos have a decent budget, but it's not an insane budget. It's pretty rare for them to get like a huge budget, especially nowadays. When back in the 80s, when a music video might play on MTV over and over and over, and that's what was selling the albums. It's kind of different now because it's on the internet. It just isn't the same kind of budget usually for these things. So they says, who came up with the demon? Did you know? Yeah, I've said anything. Richard Redlefsen basically put it together, but it was put together mainly with pieces by RBFX, which basically they pre-make prosthetics. They make them to order, but they've pre-made a bunch of molds and have like hundreds of sculptures, different styles, and they can look very, very different depending on how they're applied and who you put them on and how they're painted. You'll see the same prosthetics, and they can look totally different. People can modify them and so forth. So these were kind of like what you'd say like off-the-shelf prosthetics, but they're all still very expensive. I think it was something like $2,400 worth of prosthetics on me every single time we did this. And every time they would put these on me, which I was in this whole costume 3 times, and every time they put those on, when they take the prosthetics off, they get destroyed. The removal materials, which is usually isopropyl muricate, is oily, and once you use it to remove the piece is ruined. You can no longer really glue it again because isopropyl myristate will inhibit the glue from setting properly. So that's it. Here's the RBFX catalog with all their stuff. This is actually me, a Squidward. I've modeled stuff for RBFX for a while. This is me as an ape. That's me as a little old lady. But, oh, I don't want to get things. There's me for the Ozzy video. This is the what the initial looks. But there's me. This was for a video, actually another music video for this band called Oni, O-N-I, and Iggy Pop was in the video. That was kind of neat. But yeah, I've modeled a lot of makeups for this company, so they make really, really good. There's me again. This is me here as an alien. This is the alien. A while back, I did a video where I got caught on fire. I got burned. This was minutes before that happened, and there's a video of me getting blown up in this container. And I had blisters all over and stuff. It was great. Okay, sorry for the little edit there. I was scrolling, and there's some topless makeups on here that I will get my video flagged. So I had to edit this a little bit, which I didn't want to do. I was going to try to do this in one take. I'm not going to edit anything else, hopefully. Where was that? So after getting the makeup approved, which they liked it right away, once they had it on, it was great. But, it took me many hours to get into this thing, which I think was one of the questions on the video here. How long did it take to get in and out of? Was it comfortable? Did you fanboy out? I'll get to that later. So getting into this, it took about 4 hours to put this on, which is actually not very long for this much makeup. However, there were two artists working on me. So Richard Redlefsen was the lead, and Chelsea Delfino was his assistant, who's also very good and can, works really fast. And on top of that, all of this little detail stuff all over the chest and the face and everything was pre-painted, which was pre-painted by Richard Redlefsen, which took him probably, I'm guessing at least 6 hours, probably 6 to 8 hours, I'm guessing, maybe even more, to pre-paint all the parts. So when they came in to put them on me, mostly painted. They had to blend them out. They had to paint my arms. This makeup was a face, the ears, a cowl, which goes, I think it's a one-piece thing that I popped over my head. Pretty sure. So it had a neck, and then the top of my head, and then the face glues down. That didn't make the teeth. The teeth are actually from the movie Underworld. I think they were made for that film, and I got to use a set. And then they custom fit them so they stay on your teeth better. The hands, there was the top of the hands, the backs of the hands was a makeup, and then the fingers were finger extensions with these weird nails that they had to glue on. And the forearms, they added some texture to my arms, which was just an old school makeup trick with tissue. And they glue it and wrinkle it so that it just kind of blended to the prosthetics on the hand a little bit better. Again, about 4 hours to do this, which is very fast for how much this is. Usually a makeup this much is going to take at least 6 hours. But they jammed it out quick. Anyway, got approval. And that was the day before the actual music video shoot. They approved it, and then that day I was out running around doing some errands, and I was picking up a prescription, I think. It was during the time when, my knee was still kind of going through some stuff. I had to get some kind of medicine for my knee. And while I was at CVS waiting in line to pay for my stuff that I was picking up, got my call sheet for the next day for the music video, which I've put here, and I blurred out most of it because it had a lot of phone numbers. I don't know who it's okay to show who's on here or not. But when I saw this part, the cast, Ozzy Osbourne, Gordon Tarpley, Man Bat, 2 T's. I had a little bit of a moment because it was, I was pretty sure Ozzy was going to be there, but sometimes the main person is not there. They will shoot them separately, just depending on what they're going to do. So I figured he might be, but wasn't sure. Didn't want to get my hopes up. So I got this. And also, if you ever work in film industry, a lot of times when you see a call sheet, the cast will be more than 2 people. It'll be a bunch of people and, you know, stand-ins and all kinds of stuff. And it was just me and Ozzy. And it just looked, that is so rad. I did not expect to, you know, just see that. So that was amazing. You can see the difference in time for when we showed up too. So the next morning we get to set. I had to be there at 7. Ozzy didn't have to get there until 10. So I was already, they started my makeup probably 7. They have it scheduled for 7:30. It's probably between 7:30 and 8. They started my makeup, and maybe even 8:30, because they had to set up tables, and the makeup artist got there the same time I did, so they have to set everything up before they start putting me in. So it might have been 8 o'clock or so before I actually like started on the makeup. And I'm getting in there, I'm getting done up, which was really cool. And then also Todd McFarlane, who was one of the directors, he was probably the main director for the whole thing. Mortello was there, not like an assistant, they were kind of like co-directing, but I feel like Todd McFarlane had more presence, if that makes sense, in the situation. Like I felt like he was giving most of the direction. So I don't know how Michael Mortello was the dynamic there. I mean, they both were chiming in and getting things, you know, taking notes and, you know, setting things up, but McFarlane was more involved. It was what it felt like. And Todd McFarlane is, if you don't know who he is, he's a comic book artist. He has a whole toy line that's been around for a long time called McFarlane Toys. They did Spawn and heaps of other toys. They're really, really cool. And they were the first toys when I was younger that were sculpted with so much detail. They're really beautiful toys, just as a toy collector. I've got some in another room. They're awesome. So to meet him was also almost as exciting as meeting Ozzy for me. And he was very, very friendly and just fun to talk to. So that was great. I have a video here of behind the scenes that there's me and Ozzy. Let me make sure the sound is off because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But let's see. We come in here. I'll find parts where they get to the studio. And is that me? Let's take a look here where this is. There's a decent amount of clips of me getting ready. There's Sharon. And this, where I was getting the makeup done, was right up these stairs. So when you walk in, you come through the studio and you go up these stairs. And I actually have a video. I'll play this. This is pretty quick kind of time lapse. This is in reverse. This was actually at the end of the day. And this is me taking the makeup off, but I reversed it. So it looks like it's going on. So, oh, don't want that music. So we'll go through it. And again, this is in reverse. So it didn't quite go on in this order, but you can kind of see it, you know, all the stuff that's going on me. And there's me in my weird little shorts and my pants. And now if you look, I'm going to back it up a little bit. In the background back here, let's see if I got another shot. We can see it better. In the background, you can see there's windows out here. This was upstairs. Like I showed in that last one, you go up the stairs, you come in, and there's these windows. And from those windows, I can see down into the sound stage. So while I'm getting my makeup on, I could look down and see what's going on. So in reverse, where my camera was set up to take this video, it was on a windowsill. So literally right behind my camera was a window, and I could see outside down to the street. So when Ozzy showed up, they show up at 10 o'clock with, the driver, and, like they come in and kind of like a nice, like SUV, like an Escalade or something like that, like a big, like a lim, like a SUV limo kind of thing. And I saw them show up, and I was like, okay, there they are. I could see them coming in. It was great. And then they're setting up. I'm still getting made up, but through those windows back here, I could see the soundstage. So every once in a while I'd glance over and I could see them filming Ozzy doing all his lip sync for the video. And it was, you know, I'm watching him. I knew they only had him for a few hours. They didn't have him for a very long time that day. And at the time when they shot this, he was going through a lot of pain. He had a nerve issue in his neck, and he was in a lot of pain. And he was just so professional. He was coping with so much with his neck and everything, and he really was. You know, you could tell that he was ready to go, but he was totally accommodating to everything that needed to happen. I mean, couldn't have been more professional. So anything they needed from the video, Ozzy, we need you to do this. Ozzy, got to do that. He would just do it, and he would look amazing. I mean, you see the photos from the shoot, and he's just like, I mean, look at him. He just looks like he could just turn it on. As soon as that camera came on, he could just turn it on and just be like there. But in between takes, you could tell he was dealing with a lot. And so they're shooting him. And I knew that he wasn't going to be there much longer, but I'm still getting in the makeup. And I was kind of like, man, I hope I get to even work with him. I see him down there, but he might have to go soon. I knew his time was getting shorter and shorter that before he was going to leave. And, you know, about noon-ish, I think we started about 8, so probably about noon, they came up and they said, how's the demon looking here? And we were like, oh, we're just finishing up. And Sean Kinney did my contacts. I had these crazy red contacts in. There's probably a good photo of it someplace. I mean, that red RBFX might have had it. If I can look at this without seeing something that's going to get me in trouble. Is it here? Can you see my contacts? You kind of see them there. They brought me down, and then Ozzy's out there. He's literally in the middle of a take, so the music is super, super loud, and he's in the camera doing his lip sync thing, and they kind of like bring me around to part of the set. You can kind of see it in this behind the scenes video a little bit. They bring me around to the side of the set. Here's them talking to me here, and there's like. They go up, there's Sharon coming to see me getting ready. There's me in my underwear before I got my pants on. And it's a bat thing. So I think I brought up some pictures of bats too. Because like they didn't do any prosthetics. They could have like muscled me up more on my arms. But if you see bats, they got these real skinny little arms and this big weird torso. And they're kind of trying to get that shape. And so there I am. I feel like it looks pretty baddish. Let me see here. Where's my bat pictures? Did I bring them up? RBFX, let's look up bats. Images, let's see what happens here. So there's a good picture of the bat. Here we go. So they got these little skinny arms and this big old chest, that kind of look. So it's kind of what they're going for. The weird big torso, little skinny arms. And I feel like they did a pretty good job with it. But, yeah, so anyway, let's see if they show this thing. I could talk about this part where that's actually a really good spot where you can see how much makeup on my back. That is all this added. And this is Richard. This is Todd McFarlane here talking about the movements we want to mimic that Ozzy's been doing. Ozzy's very funny. I talked to him more on the other shoot. He's got a good sense of humor, and even though he's going through all this stuff, he's really good. And they bring me out right about here. I think they dragged me out the set. Okay, so here I am behind Ozzy. Now, mind you, when we filmed this, we only filmed a few takes together. So me and Ozzy were only on set together for maybe 10 minutes total before he had to go. So we filmed this, and right when they were filming this, they brought me in. Music is blasting, super, super loud. And over off to this side, there's kind of like, I don't know, like a green screen or something set up on the side here. We were kind of behind it. So this is me walking out. So if you walk in, Ozzy would be like kind of over here, and they walked me around this way. And, you know, I thought we might wait till between the takes or something. And the director comes over. He goes, okay, the solo's coming up. When the solo comes up, I want you to walk out behind Ozzy and do this thing. And then, you know, you're going to come up and put your hands on him or something. Like, it was really specific. He's like yelling this to me, music super loud, could barely hear him. And then he's like, okay. And then the director like takes off, and then the solo comes on. So I'm like, oh, here I go. And I walk out, and I'm like kind of back there. Let's see. I'm back here like this, and you'll see they wanted me to like reach over Ozzy and do all this. And then right here, I'm getting the other director, Mike, is basically behind. It's loud. I can't hear anything, and I could see him behind the camera. He's all in silhouette. It's very dark inside the studio, so where the cameras are at, it's dark. And I could just see his arms going like this, like trying to guide me around. And it's, I'm out there for a while, so I thought he wanted me to like, okay, now walk off set. That's kind of what I thought in my head. So I started to cruise off, and then and he goes, and then I see him like wave me back on, like no, back on this way. So I come back, and then they get through the part, and then you saw that shot first before where this is Todd McFarlane came out, and he's like okay, like gave me more specific directions, because it was like no direction, like you just go out and just walk around. I didn't know what was going on. So like I did the thing, I kind of hovered over them, and they were gonna like reset, do it over again, and they're gonna have me be there this time. So I got that. At that point, I hadn't even met Ozzy yet at all, and so already doing this, I still haven't met Ozzy. I'm behind him doing all the stuff. He hasn't met me yet, and they come over and they're like, okay, and they like, Ozzy, this is the demon here, and he kind of like looked back just for like a second and like nodded, and then just back at the camera, and they started over again, like barely addressed me. And it wasn't like he was being rude or something. I think he was just concentrating on what he's had to do. So he just kind of knew that I was there. And the next scene, they're like, okay, like, we want you to pop up and like that. And then you're going to come up and you're going to put your hands on Ozzy's shoulders, which was, for me, I got one of those questions over here. Down here, it's, did you fanboy out working with Ozzy? And this one, Christopher Colvin, I know you're on set to work and of course be the professional you are, but at what point do you say to yourself, holy sharts, that's Ozzy Osbourne. I was kind of having that moment when I'm putting my hands on him, like I just met him, and it's like, okay, you're gonna put your hands on his shoulders, and he's gonna be like cool with it, He didn't jump or anything. It was totally like, he like put his hands on my hands and was like doing the whole thing, and then Todd McFarlane's giving me some instruction on what to do, and it looks ridiculous from that angle, but from the camera angle, I'm completely behind him, like you can't see me in the shot or anything. So they filmed a couple more takes like that, and then Ozzy had to go. That was it. That was his time. So we got up, and basically they're like, okay, we need to get photos with Ozzy and the Demon, which are basically these pictures. There's a whole bunch of them that they took. I got some more from behind the scenes. But when they brought him over to do this photo, he has a cane. He's in a lot of pain. He's just really, really going through a lot. So, he's pretty fragile this day. You wouldn't know it looking at any of the video, but he was pretty, dealing with this stuff. And they brought me over, and then they brought him over, and he's right here next to me, and he has his cane, and he hands his cane to either Jude, which is his assistant, or Sharon. I can't remember who. He handed it to somebody, and then he grabs onto my arm. So now I have Ozzy Osbourne, who I've just met 10 minutes ago, is now literally like hanging on to me for support, so they could bring a chair over and just to get rid of his cane. And I'm like, that was the moment where I was like, I have Ozzy Osbourne is like hanging on me right now. This is crazy. And they're like, would it be easier if you had a chair? And he's like, yeah. So they brought the chair over, and I think this is the white chair that they used in the other scene. They put a black like tarp over it, and he sat down, and we did the photos, and he was just really like, he just fully leaned his head on me, and leaned his head over, and was really, he had, put his arms on me and stuff. It was really cool. Like, he was very comfortable, no hesitation about just being, be looking totally comfortable, even though we just met. And then basically they like took him out, and he was so accommodating with all the stuff he's going through. He was so professional, super professional, super accommodating. Anything they needed to make the music video happen, he would make sure that he did it, even though he was going through so much. Now, the rest of the day, now they're shooting all my parts. So they shot tons of shots of me basically doing all the stuff that Ozzy did before. So sitting on the bed, sitting in the chairs, doing the same shots he did with Ozzy, but now with me, so that they can like superimpose the pieces. So I spent the rest of the day, it was my turn to be on set, which was really fun, super neat, amazing experience. And that was it. And then now it's time to wait for the video to come out. And I don't know, pretty shortly after the video, like under a month after this video was filmed, Ozzy had surgery on his neck to help alleviate some of the pain he was dealing with, because he had like a pinched nerve or something, and he had a surgery to help with that. So I think it improved him quite a bit, because a few months later I got to shoot another thing with Ozzy, which was for Omaze. We did a campaign for this. Let me make sure the sound is down just in case. And basically there's Ozzy, and they're trying to come up with a campaign slogan to sell these cars, or for this car giveaway for this these donations. And here comes me, and I get to have a line. I see this. I'll let this play. I don't think there's music here, so we'll let this play for a second. But anyway, this video, they were like, hey, they're going to do this Omaze campaign, and we want to have the demon come back. And this was a whole thing, too, I'll talk about here. Let me make sure the sound is on, and I'll back this up. So Ozzy's doing his thing.
With everyone.
I got to make sure the music's not too loud. Here we go.
Hey, Ozzy, you still down for that game of one-on-one today? I was thinking we could... Ozzy, how could you?
It's not what you think.
And what exactly am I supposed to think?
Omaze is giving away a car, not you.
You know what? You really are something.
But lucky for you, the Dodge Demon is a car.
So so this day, even though the video, being in an Ozzy music video is probably one of the coolest things I'll ever get to do. But this day, in a way, was almost more fun, because I got to interact with Ozzy a lot this day. Way more than I did on the actual music video. Because I got to read lines with Ozzy Osbourne, which was really neat. But in between these two things, there was a Sirius XM Patient Number 9 listening party, where they got these like 40 Ozzy super fans from all over the country. They flew everybody out, and they had this really small group to listen to the full album before, like a few months before it came out. And I got to go to that, which was pretty neat. It was just me, just dressed normal, hanging out at this thing. I did not get to talk to Ozzy during that thing, which was a bummer, but I did get to talk to Jude, which is like his personal, he does like, it helps him with his eye makeup and stuff, but is also kind of like his personal, like assistant kind of guy. He's a really nice guy. And he was there, and we talked, and he hadn't seen me without the makeup. I said, hey, I was the demon in the music video. He goes, oh my gosh, because we had talked a bunch while I was in that silly makeup, so nobody knows what I look like. And so he's like, oh my gosh, are you going to be at the shoot at the Omaze thing? And I was like, yeah. And I kind of didn't know exactly what the shoot was going to be for at the time. I knew that they wanted something else, and I was like, yeah, I think so. I don't know what's going on. But when it turned out it was going to be this Omaze thing, the people that were putting this on, I almost kind of had to audition for this. I didn't have to go like do any acting in front of them, but they were like, oh, we want someone that can be kind of funny. And, they saw the video, but, they just knew that I looked like this demon in the video, but they didn't know if I could, memorize lines and all that kind of stuff, or if I had like good comic timing. And I know on my YouTube, I'm pretty like dry, but like on Instagram and so forth, most of the videos I post are pretty funny. So I ended up having a Zoom call with them, and with the producers for the film, and I was working at Spectral Motion at the time, so I'm going to take like this break in the middle of the day from what we were working on and go talk to them, and they just wanted to like talk with me, and I sent them a link to all my Instagram stuff, and then they were like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, this is perfect." Which made me feel pretty good, and so I got to do this because I considered putting somebody else in the makeup before they talked to me, and then once he talked to me, it was good. Now that was Richard Redlefsen saying, "Gordon's funny, he can do this," and really going to bat for me and help me get this. But here's another part. I got to do this other last little line with Ozzy.
Oh, and you know the whole biting off the head of a bat thing? You know I was doing that 5,000 years ago, so thanks for the credit on that.
So, so that was pretty fun. It was just neat. Ozzy's there, and he was in such better condition on this shoot than he was on the video. This, again, he had a surgery between the shoots, so for this one, he showed up and he just seemed, much more, together. Just seemed just a world of difference in how he felt. Again, wasn't there for a terribly long time. We was there long enough to do this stuff, but he was funny. He remembered, they gave him the lines and he was able to do them. And, you see these things, and when he speaks, he kind of stammers a bit. But he's very thoughtful. So his brain is working well, but there's like the connection when he talks, and he has that thing that, stereotypical thing when you see Ozzy if you saw the Osbournes or anything, and he stammers. But when you give him music with lyrics or lines like this, where they gave him the lines, he didn't fumble at all doing the lines. He was able to basically, do them correctly every time. And I thought his timing was very funny, especially on set. I think it shows you maybe even more than in the video.
You still down for that game of one-on-one today? I was thinking we could... Ozzy, how could you?
Another thing you might notice is that on this video, this is another time I was in the makeup, third time in the makeup.
It's not what you think.
I don't have the teeth in. I had teeth in the morning, but it's very, very hard to speak with them. And so even though this is the demon voice, that's actually me talking, and they pitched it down. So that
What you think?
And what exactly am I supposed to think?
Oh.
So that is me doing the line, which was pretty cool. Because when I heard it, I thought that maybe we're gonna, get some voice actor to overdub me or something, and then they just pitched me down. So that was also cool. I didn't care. Like, I figured, just I don't have a demon voice. They might get somebody with a really fantastic voice, but they used my voice just pitched down, which was pretty awesome. Now let me see here. That day was pretty interesting too. I had to show up pretty early. Again, the makeup went pretty fast, about the same amount of time that it took to do the music video. And then I just got to be on set for a while, and Ozzy was on set almost the entire time with me. He left. I did a few more, I don't know, maybe like an extra 30 minutes of stuff after he left, where they just did takes, like close-up shots of me coming in and out. But most of the lines were all delivered with Ozzy on set, which is very, very fun for me. Felt a very special day. And let me see if I missed anything else here. Going through my notes. I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, that is how I got to work with Ozzy Osbourne. It's all giant thanks to Richard Redlefsen for being so awesome and bringing me in on that. Couldn't say enough thank yous forever, probably, because it was so rad. And then also for coming to bat for me for this Omaze thing, which is also it's very, very fun experience. I'll put links to all of these below in this video, so if you want to go watch any of this stuff, that'll be available down there, so you can just watch these in entirety and see hear it with the music and stuff. I'm trying not to get copyright strikes here. Do I have anything else? I think there's one other music. This video, I was trying to find all these tabs to show you guys, and this one I found, and this is full of the Vivo footnotes, and it has all these quotes. And working with the demon in full makeup was a good time. Who doesn't love hanging out with their demon all day? from Ozzy Osbourne. And I hadn't seen this until today, so that made me feel pretty good. I was like, oh, that's so cool. So anyway, that was fun. Let me see here. Let me go back to the questions to make sure I answered everything. Let's see. How long it take? Yeah, about 4 hours to get in and out. And like I said, the pre-paint probably took a long time. So the full makeup to actually do it was probably closer to 10 hours of actual work, give or take. But I only had to be 4 hours of it. And to take it off. To take it off was probably about 90 minutes to get off everything and get all the glue cleaned off, because they use a glue called Telesis. It's very sturdy adhesive. It's kind of stuff that they use when people have really good hair pieces. Like those people have like a semi-permanent like a hair piece that they wear for like days on end. It never comes off. That's the same glue that they use for those kind of things. You can shower with it, get it wet. It won't come undone. You have to use specific removers for it. Was it comfortable? It's, I don't know. So this is the thing. For me, the reason that I get a lot of jobs doing makeup, being in weird costumes, is that I can recognize the things that would be uncomfortable, but it doesn't bother me. So I don't care. Like, even if it's not comfortable, unless it's actually hurting me, I can pretty much deal with it. I had contacts in my eyes all day, like these gigantic red contact lenses, and you can see them in this Omaze video pretty good, actually. Like, you see my giant contacts. So they're red, they're humongous contact lenses, and they didn't hurt, they fit well, but what happens is if your eye gets dry, your eyelid or something, they catch, and then when you move, the actual contact stays still, and you look around, but the contact won't move with your eye. It doesn't hurt, but it feels very strange. That would happen a lot, especially on the Omaze shoot, I think even more than the music video. And so by the end of the day, they have to come over, and there's a lens tech who's just specifically there to make sure your contacts are good. And his name is Sean Kenny, I believe his last name. Sean's awesome, and basically he just takes care of me all day with these things. He's really good. He's done my contacts for some of the other stuff with Richard too. But yeah, comfort, maybe. I couldn't use my hands because of those nails, and there are finger extensions to make my fingers even longer, and I couldn't undo my pants if I had to go to the bathroom or something. I just didn't use the bathroom all day just because of the hands more than anything else. And just being careful with those I'm conscious of it. It's not necessarily uncomfortable. I just, it's limiting. So that's about it there. Okay, what's design? Richard Redlefsen, like I said. Again, yeah, those moments of just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. I've been a fan of Ozzy Osbourne since I was like 13 or 14 years old. And I'm 47 now, if I didn't say that already. So a long time. So to be there with him on it, like right there, like this is a guy that sang all my favorite Black Sabbath songs and stuff. This is him, just hanging on my arm, That was wild. Did you hang out with Ozzy out of the costume? I did not. Ozzy has never looked at me and known who I was. Like I said, I did that thing with the Sirius XM thing, and I was there. There weren't very many people. Like I said, maybe 40 people. Pretty small group, and I was 20 feet away from Ozzy, but I didn't get to talk to him that day because the way they brought him in and then took him out, I just didn't get to talk to him. So he's never knowingly seen me with my own face. If you're not a headbanger before, yeah, I like metal. But yeah, I think that answers everything, and that's kind of it. That is the main story. If you have more questions about it, let me know, and I'll try to write them up in the comments and respond to you there. But I will have links to all these so you can watch the behind the scenes and the actual video and everything, and you can see how they did it. There's me getting something done. And you can see, this is funny. Look at this. I have these little socks on. I was actually literally wearing bright green Crocs all day. And you'll notice in the music video too, for a lot of the video, I have hair. and they wanted it to be this transitional thing where I had Ozzy's hair. There's whole scenes where you can see all the stuff on the tables where Ozzy's on this bed, and then as he's transitioning, there's kind of like a moment where there's all the drugs on the table, and the demon kind of wipes everything off. You know, I have to like smash all the prescriptions off the dresser and do all this stuff. It was really fun. But throughout the video, let's talk about the hair, is that the more it transitions into a bat, the hair goes away. So by the time the end of the video, I actually don't have the hair anymore. And in the Omaze thing, I don't have the hair anymore. And there were some scenes that they filmed where I had to like jump off of a box and stuff. And it's the kind of thing that feels really goofy, but if they do it, you know, if they put it together right. I saw the clips of it on camera. It actually looked good on camera, but they ended up not using it in video. It ended up being like animated. In this part, I'm trying to figure out what we're taking these pictures, and I'm like, okay, what's Ozzy doing? I'm gonna try to mimic him. So there's me in deep in thought, like, okay, I'm gonna make that face too. So then we're like, okay, and I mean, this is what an amazing experience for me. So yeah, I was just trying to mimic what he was doing, and we're getting some direction from the photographer, who's clearly worked with Ozzy for a long time, because the way they talked to each other was very funny. And there's Todd McFarlane. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great time, very fun. Hopefully that answered some questions for everybody. Hopefully I'm still recording here. There we go. All right, I'm gonna switch back to my main thing. Ta-da! So yeah, anyway, again, if you got more questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them in the comments. And there will be links to all the stuff I showed here and anything else in the description below this video. Look at that. Where are you focusing on camera? And yeah, that was it. That was my experience working with Ozzy Osbourne on Patient Number 9, the music video and the Omaze shoot. So thanks again, everybody, for stopping by. I got to go make an edit, which you probably mentioned earlier, because I showed something I couldn't show by accident, thanks to RBFX. But anyway, good job. Thanks again, guys. Have fun. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.